Star Wars fans, man, do I have a cool video for you today.
I don't believe it.
There is a new report about something going on in The Mandalorian Season 3 that I've been hoping would happen for some time. It has me super hyped up, so let's get in to that.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Vengers Tower. As per usual, I hope this video finds you well, and I would say this video is sort of slightly spoilery for something that will happen in The Mandalorian Season 3. It's sort of hard for me to measure how crazy of a spoiler things are when it comes to Star Wars, because the Lucasfilm strategy is to hide almost everything from the public, but that has also been something that people on the internet have been living with for years and years and years, and so a lot of us have been following behind the scenes leaks, scoops, rumors, etc., when it comes to Star Wars. So I'd probably give this sort of a code yellow of spoilers. I don't think it's red hot stuff that we know is going to spoil big reveals or even really all that confirmed. It sort of just speaks to something that was seen on set that has implications for the story. So a lot of the juice here and the fun comes from the speculation. But let's pull this up right now. I saw this pop up on Reddit, and this is coming from Making Star Wars, Jason Ward over there. It says here a couple of bullet points that are happening, but the main title is pretty freaking intriguing. It's really what this is all about. It says Mandalorian Season 3 filming scenes with around 75 Mandalorians, including fan-made costumes. Okay, so let's go through these bullet points and then we will break it all down. And again, I'll add some things that I have heard about this and how it ties into the Book of Boba Fett, and we'll speculate as well. So it says here, The Mandalorian is preparing to film a sequence for the third season of the series. The sequence is currently casting actors to and finding creative ways to use fan costumes to fill around 75 different Mandalorian suits of armor. The featured Mandos will be played by local actors, whereas the background moments will use costumers from the fandom. Very interesting. These 75 Mandos are also going to do some armor swapping of pieces to create even more variants to be seen on screen. Wow. He saw samples in various forms. Some of the armors have a Boba Fett vibe. Their armor is patchwork with different colors and pieces. The next section described as rumors, while the previous one is called facts. So here's where we get into some more interesting stuff. It says, desperate individual Mandalorians from around the galaxy answer a call Din Djarin sends out to the galaxy for help. Din Djarin's legend is growing throughout the galaxy as rumors of a true Mandalore returning is heard throughout the galaxy. When Din makes the call, it is answered by more Mandalorians than you could have ever imagined. He saw a few pieces of red armor from Maul's Mandos in the Clone War. There were also some clan symbols he recognized and some he never saw before. He thinks this is a unifying moment for Mandalore where the past is left behind and they move forward, but is sure there's a lot of missing context here. Okay, so let's break down just kind of some fun things that are in this thing, and then I'll talk about why I think it ties to the Book of Boba Fett and why I'm so hyped up about this, okay? So first of all, the idea of having a ton of different Mandalorians all on screen in and of itself is very fun. But as Star Wars fans can point out, and we all know, the idea of making your own Mandalorian armor has been with the fandom for years and years and years. There are a ton of different fans that have done their own versions of Mandalorian armor, and it is such a fun meta idea to take a bunch of Star Wars fans and local actors and put them together to create this crazy scene with over 75 Mandalorians, and to have the fandom, the real actual Star Wars fandom that just loves Mandalore, the Mandalorian armor, and the fun of Star Wars, to incorporate that into the scene. Man, awesome. Like, legitimately very feel-good thing. I'm very excited to see it when it happens out there. The idea of having some of the Boba Fett armor, the idea of having some of the Darth Maul armor, a lot of this stuff is really interesting. Because, again, it seems like there were really no Mandalorians. What we set up in the story established in Season 1 is that it's very rare to see a Mandalorian. But the idea is that a lot of these different covens from around the galaxy are only having one Mandalorian go out at a time to represent them, and the rest of them sort of hide. They, you know, as the Jon Favreau dude says, like, we live as rats in the sewers, right? So they've been doing this for some time, all of them kind of hiding their numbers. Now, the idea of Din Djarin giving a call out to all of the Mandalorians around the galaxy to get help, it establishes two major things that are super fun for us to consider. Number one, there is this idea that Din is stepping into his heroism. He's stepping into the role that the universe, the cosmic force, destiny, whatever you want to call it, has sort of chosen for him. Right? The Mandalorian, and the fact that he gets the Darksaber from Moff Gideon, the dude that actually glassed Mandalore or did something during the Great Purge. He's likely responsible for, putting Mandalorians where they are currently at. And the idea of that guy being this figurehead around the galaxy, and him sending a message. That's really interesting. It means that he's going sort of from, reluctant hero to loner to embracing the fact that he has the ability now to maybe unify Mandalore, right? So that in and of itself is very fun. It's very cool. But the other side of this, of course, is that it implies there is something really big happening. There is something that Din Djarin feels like he needs the help of all of these Mandalorians. Because I don't think he's just going to, want to unify them or step into that role of being hero without some friction, without something causing him to want and need this kind of help. So it's really interesting what that could be. What could that big thing be? What could that big problem be? And now I want to sort of speculate on how I think this can tie into the Book of Boba Fett. This one may be a little bit more spoilery than what we've talked about so far, but I don't think it's a huge surprise that I am hearing that Din Djarin will be in the Book of Boba Fett, that he, with Grogu, and actually I think Luke Skywalker is going to show up as well, and I've been pretty consistent about that. But all of those people are going to show up in the Book of Boba Fett. Well, I've always thought that the only reason that Din might show up in Book of Boba or confront Boba Fett would be that he needed Boba's help, right? And so again, it establishes this sort of thing, this inciting incident that will push the overall plot of the Filoni-verse or of the Mando-verse forward. Right? So that in and of itself is super cool. But there's this idea of Luke being brought back, right? The idea of Luke coming back. And I don't think that we're going to have enough time for Grogu to be properly trained. So the idea of Luke coming back to help this effort out would imply that something is a big enough problem in the galaxy that even Luke is altering his plans coming into the Book of Boba Fett, because we think Book of Boba Fett, by and large, is just going to be a gangster mafia movie with Boba Fett beating up a bunch of dudes, taking control of the galaxy, and being a straight gangster. But there are moments from Legends past where Boba Fett recognizes that he has to do something. He becomes the leader of Mandalore at one point and helps fight against the Yuuzhan Vong. There are other moments like this in that history. So Boba would hopefully be able to realize if the threat is big enough that, yeah, he's going to indeed help them out. And what's crazy about that is, what if his mafia dudes and all these bounty hunters and all those people, they sort of join the fight as well? Because in this reality, in the Filoniverse, Boba has more of attachment to the underground, to Tatooine, to other bounty hunters than he actually does to Mandalore. He has Mandalorian armor, but he's not even really Mandalorian, right? So it'll be interesting to see if we're building up like our Avengers, so-called, Mando Avengers or whatever you want to call them, of different groups of armies that'll come together to fight this big threat. I am really speculating here, but personally, I feel like what that big threat could end up being is a Grand Admiral Thrawn. I mean, if you think about the Mandoverse, right, and you think about Ahsoka, the role that she played in Season 2, kind of connecting Grogu to the wider, Tython Force idea, and then eventually having that Luke Skywalker meet up, there is something to that character. I don't think they would just put that in there just for fun, just to be like, hey, here's the spinoff. No, I believe Grand Admiral Thrawn is actually the big bad that she is searching for, and perhaps will end up being the big bad that is the whole inciting incident here. Like maybe Moff Gideon works for Thrawn and we get connected to it that way. There's even some stuff at the end of Bad Batch that might make us think that that's the direction that they're going. And honestly, there have been a lot of rumors about this as well. So I think it's very possible that this scene that we're hearing described here of all the Mandalorians, the thing that they need is to fight against Thrawn in some way. Could they be retaking Mandalore because it's actually some kind of crazy secret base that Thrawn is using? Could they just be fighting against some new Imperial force that Thrawn has assembled? I don't know exactly. We don't know what is going on there. Or maybe are all of them fighting against some external threat? A lot of people think maybe the Grisk will be replacing the Yuuzhan Vong. There's a lot of fun things they could do during this time period in the Star Wars canon. But regardless, that is the crazy report out there. A lot of fun stuff and sort of just my thoughts on how it could all tie together. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel to see more of our content pop up in your recommended feed. And go check out our live streaming channel, man. Come on by for a live stream. It's always a good time over there. You can yell at me live. You can ask me a question live. All sorts of fun things happen over on the streams. It's always a good time. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.